Lee Fong of The Intercept did an investigation on the so-called experts supporting the Republican tax plan. And here's what he found. GOP's list of economists backing tax cut includes ghosts, office assistants, ex-felons, and a sprinkling of real economists. So here are the specifics on this. One of the signatories is a guy named Gil Sylvia of the University of Georgia. That's how he's listed. And he doesn't exist. They looked. He doesn't exist. So there is a Gil Sylvia working as a marine resource economist, but that wouldn't really be directly pertinent to this, and he's at Oregon State University, not at Georgia. Then there's John P. Eliazarian. He's listed as an economist with the American Economic Association, and he's in favor of this bill. But here's my favorite part of this one. Membership to the AEA, the American Economic Association, is open to anybody who pays dues. So in other words, it's like you're part of a club, you pay into that club, and they go, you're an economist. But it's like, I don't know, you set up a group and you have people pay dues and then you call them a water buffalo. Like, you're a water buffalo. You paid dues. But they're not really a water buffalo. Same thing with this. Oh, you want to pay the dues to get into the American Economic Association? Now we declare you are an economist. What? So he lost his law license and the ability to practice law in California after he was convicted and sentenced to 6 months in prison for forging a judicial signature and falsifying other documents. How fucking perfect is that? He falsified documents and he went to jail over it. And now the Republicans are like, our document that we have here, our tax bill, is very official, and to prove it, we have the signature of a guy who went to prison over falsifying documents. A fiction writer couldn't write it any better. That's unreal. A guy named James C. Miller III is one of the signatories, and this one is totally unsurprising. He's an official with the Americans for Prosperity Group, which is a Koch brothers advocacy organization. And that's the point, is that they're either criminals. Another one is they would go, it's the old Bush trick. You go to a place where there's real work being done, but then you get like an office assistant to sign off on it. This is what they used to do with the Justice Department. The Justice Department approved our procedures here, but the Justice Department, what the fuck are they talking about? We didn't approve that. It turns out they found some fucking mail boy or something. They're like, oh, you work at the Justice Department, right? Here, sign off on this. And then they go out there and portray it as, the Justice Department has approved our... No, you didn't. You got a fucking low-level staffer who he didn't even know what he was fucking signing. You just told him to sign something, and now you're portraying it as the Justice Department. That's the same thing with this. Office assistants, and then they get people who literally are part of groups that are lobbying for the tax cuts, and they go, it's an objective expert who's in favor of our tax bill. No, he's employed by a group that is pushing for the tax cuts because they personally benefit from it. So it's, oh my God, they're such fucking liars. They know they're lying. You can't have an honest mistake that's this bad. So they can't find real experts to support it. So you just do all these sleazy tricks. Now, by the way, what do actual experts say? Out of 42 top economists, only one believes the GOP tax bills would help the economy. One out of 42. By the way, all 42 go on to say, yeah, even though I think it'll help the economy, 100% it adds to the deficit. So I don't want to hear another fucking word from the Republican Party about the debt or the deficit ever again. Ever again. Because this bill adds anywhere from, depending on which analysis you believe, nonpartisan analysis, anywhere from $1 trillion to $1.4 trillion to the deficit. So I don't want to hear another fucking word about it. They knowingly and willingly signed up on legislation that gives us a bigger deficit, When they pretend the entire time like, no, we're the party of fiscal responsibility. There are quotes of John McCain railing against the deficit, and then guess who decided to vote for this bill? John McCain. Not a single fucking peep about the deficit. Notice, every time it's for you, anytime Bernie Sanders utters a word about free college or Medicare for all, they go, wow, where are we going to get the fucking money? I don't know where we're going to get the money. We don't have the fucking deficit. What are we going to do? But for their shitty tax bill that gives giant tax cuts to the rich, they're like, I don't care. Think about how egregious this is. They are increasing the deficit while at the same time they're raising taxes on the middle class. But the cuts to the top 1% are so large, and the cuts for corporations are so large that they're net adding to the deficit. How you're going to pay more in taxes and there's going to be an increase in the deficit because they're that irresponsible. They don't care about the deficit. It's a fucking ruse. It's a talking point. It's a scam to try to prevent any kind of forward movement on programs that are good for the American people. You understand? That's what they have no argument against it. So they go, I don't know, it adds to the deficit or something. But then whenever they're in power, they're like, deficits don't matter. And then watch, the oldest trick in the book, they're going to run up the deficits, and then next time Democrats get elected, they'll turn around and go, I can't believe this fucking deficit. It's so... Democrats, you're so irresponsible. Fucking fix it. What's the matter with you? And what do the bitch-ass corporate Democrats do? The centrist Democrats? Oh, the Republicans are right. Now we need to fucking go fix the deficit. As opposed to, working in the direction of doing things people want, like raising the minimum wage and ending the wars and doing Medicare for all, so on and so forth. So they don't fucking care about the deficit. And they have no real experts on their side because we have all the evidence in recent history as to what happens when you do their ideas. I love how the Republicans act like we've never tried their shitty ideas before. They get elected and they're like, well, gosh, wouldn't it be a great idea if we deregulated Wall Street massively and we cut taxes for the rich? We should try that. That's never been tried before. Fucking Bill Clinton deregulated Wall Street with the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act. It got rid of Glass-Steagall. George W. Bush put the deregulation in hyperdrive. We just did your ideas, and it led to a subprime mortgage crisis and a great recession. It led to over $1 trillion worth of credit card debt, over $1 trillion worth of student loan debt. It led to derivatives betting, which is fucking out of control, where that bubble's going to burst at some point. It's going to tank the world economy. We just did it, and there was a giant crash. And they're like, why don't we try this great idea of deregulating and cutting taxes for the rich? What could go wrong? But that's the thing is, they probably know all that, but they don't care because they're paid to do those things. They're paid to do the bidding of corporations, paid to do the bidding of the rich, so they don't care if it crashes the world economy. They don't care. They don't care about the side effects because, hey, all the rich people run out the back door with all the money anyway, so what does it matter? That's the Republican Party.